everyone, welcome back to StrangeCast, Play One vs. World's Life is Strange podcast. This is episode 38B, as we've spoken about in episode 38A. This is the second part of our podcast episode as a special that we've done. So I'm Adnan Riaz, obviously. My co-host Adam is here. No hello? No? Okay, what? That's fine.
I was waiting for you to say my last name. You said Adnan Riaz, and then I'm like, you don't even know how to pronounce my last name, do you? Go ahead, give it a try.
It's Evolt, but yeah, we'll.
Okay.
You can't win with everyone anyway. And obviously, we have a very special guest as well, as you can see in the video, with Jonathan Panetta, who is a musician, does Life is Strange music. Jonathan, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate having you here, and obviously talk about Life is Strange.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you, Adam, for having me. Honestly, big shout out to you guys for doing the podcast, keeping the discussions on Life is Strange going. There's not too many of you guys doing that, so believe me, we all appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much as well.
Thank
and
you.
Obviously, like we talked about off podcast as well. Jonathan is representing Chloe with his T-shirt, and I've chosen my AJ Styles top because I watched one of Jonathan's interviews, and he's a wrestling fan, so obviously I had to show him that I've done my due diligence. But obviously, before we start the conversation as well, I do ask anyone who's here as well, please do drop us a subscribe, like, turn on notifications, and share with your friends. It helps you keep up to date with our content, if anything. And also, StrangeCast is available on all your podcast services, so you can download episodes and check us out over there. We're slowly climbing to 1,000 subscribers, so if you can very much help us push us over that edge, it'll be very much greatly appreciated. Anyway, that's out of the way. Jonathan, we start with you because it was quite nice that you reached out to me personally with your story, which I found very quite touching, and obviously have seen you floating around our comments as well. As you said, you've been listening to our podcast, and I found your story very interesting, and obviously pitched it to Adam, and Adam's composer himself, musician, and I believe his first words were, "This guy makes some better music than me," and having listened to your Life is Strange song, but I kind of want to start things off with you personally, and I think, like, obviously it seems a bit cliche, but music is a very big part of your life. Life is Strange has now been fused into it, but how did we start with the music ambition?
Music's always been a part of my life. I'm the youngest of 3 siblings in my family, so growing up I took influence from them. We all ironically work in the same kind of field outside of music, so I feel like our paths have kind of been similar. I've just been the youngest, most ambitious one that's pursued music a little further.
Yeah. And you're 23, and like you're still like on your path here, and I just feel like you got that bright future ahead of you. That's why I would say, like, it's really like awesome for young people to like stay on this path rather than like saying like, oh well, it's not a realistic goal and just going into a different path. So it's good that you're using you're making use of your time, if I might say.
No pun intended.
But that's cool, man. Yeah.
So one of the things I found interesting, obviously, you've started music on different things, but then Life is Strange has come into the mix, and it's not uncommon for people to tap into Life is Strange in different ways, whether it's through fan artwork, through podcast, and also music as well. There's quite a few things that people have been inspired from. Where did the start for Life is Strange come for you? Was it very much at the beginning in 2015 with the first game being released, or did you come late to the series?
Well, in terms of playing and like knowing it front end and back end, I was late to the series. I started playing the first Life is Strange in the summer of 2020.
Oh, wow.
So, when life's already pretty crappy, when a pandemic happens,
yeah.
Life is Strange kind of hits harder than it normally would. But I heard about Life is Strange through word of the mouth of a friend that I knew, I think a year after it came out, because I was showing them Telltale's The Walking Dead and The Wolf Among Us, like choice-based adventure games. Like, if you like that kind of format of game, I think you'd like Life is Strange. It took me a while to get around to playing it, but once I got there, I don't regret it.
Yeah, that's the thing about like backlogs or even word of mouth. It's just kind of like one of those things like, I'll get around to it. And so if it came out a year later, so it took you 4 years to play something that came from word of mouth?
5.
5 years. Okay, yeah. So 5 years. And that's the thing about when somebody recommends you a game. It's like, oh yeah, but a game is commitment, so I'll get around to it in 5 years. Like, goodness gracious. But I feel like playing in the summer of 2020 is an interesting way to play it. Like you said, like life is already, kind of haywire, so it would hit different. So that's an interesting time setting to play a game like this.
Yeah, so, and Adam said that as well. On top of that, you mentioned a load of games that we like as well. Me and Adam have always spoken highly of the Telltale games, the narrative choice ones. But like you said, 2020, you pick up Life is Strange, and obviously at that point we have Life is Strange 1, 2, BTS. How did you approach them? Did you approach them playing the first game, or did you play BTS first? Because at this point you have kind of like choice where you can play it chronologically, or you can play it release date. Was it the first Life is Strange that you played first time around?
It was the first Life is Strange. I just figured that was the first game. Yeah, in the plot of it, I kind of figured, like, the outcome of Before the Storm, because that's just, chronological order. But I figured the game came out in 2015 anyway, so I don't think people who played it the first time would have played Before the Storm first anyway, so...
Yeah.
And how did you find the first Life is Strange? Because obviously, like Adam said, it's a very interesting time to play it. The pandemic was for better or worse for a lot of people in terms of how they dealt with it. But Life is Strange was very much synonymous, especially when I was covering it, with the hard-hitting themes of it. And obviously to go down the path of like Life is Strange music, down the path of whichever way you want to talk about it. Like we always talk very openly about mental health in this podcast. We talk about a lot of issues that Life is Strange is kind of encompassed, but like, how was it dealing with those kind of themes that were coming across? Did you expect to see how many kind of like themes it would actually branch into during the course of it?
Oh no, I'm the type of gamer, like I'll always like kind of assume like, oh, I think the story's going this way. I kind of like to mid-play draw my own narrative where I think the direction's going, but no, it didn't go the way I thought it would. And honestly, like looking back, happy that it didn't. I remember after first completing, I was mad. I was like, why? I was kind of falling into the realm like, why would the writers do this? Why would they make a choice-based game when it's gonna end one of two ways anyways?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They say your choices matter, but they don't. And a lot of people, it's funny, a lot of people that weren't a fan of the first Life is Strange like complain that there was only two distinct endings, yet when Life is Strange 2 came around, we got way more endings than that. Like it had a wider plot, but people were still like, it's not as good as the first Life is Strange. So it's kind of like, well, you wanted more endings, they gave you more endings. I was just gonna ask, like, what is your opinion about Life is Strange 2? Like, do you think it's the best one? Do you think it's lower on your tiers? Like, where do you stand with Life is Strange 2? It's lower on my tiers just because
nice.
I feel like in terms of relating, like I relate to a lot of Alex Chen and Max Caulfield as characters. I am the youngest sibling in my family, so it's like I don't have the experience of looking after a little one other than I guess
fair.
The students I work with at my job. But it's not a sibling, not the same thing. So like there are moments where I was like really mad, like why is Daniel not listening to me? I'm the big brother here, but I'm like, wait, but I have older siblings. Maybe they regarded me as Daniel in some ways when we were growing up. I don't know. Is that what it's like being the younger sibling? Oh, God.
Oh, my God. Well, it's like, since we're on the topic of Life is Strange, and you are a musician, I want to swing this around to be more of like a Life is Strange music kind of feel, because you did put out a single, Make Use of Your Time. Is that the full title? Yeah, Make Use of Your Time. You worked with Dany Horovitz. Am I saying his name right?
Yep.
Yeah. What was if I can ask, what was his part in making this song?
So in terms of like the message of the song, we both like had the same direction. I wanted to drive it more towards like the Life is Strange franchise. If I'm a very lyrical writers, so there's like a lot of like subtle references to things if you go through the lyrics.
Oh yeah.
Dany just writes a lot of deep songs. I discovered him early 2022, and if anyone, like, if you enjoy, make use of your time, I encourage you to check out Dany Horovitz as well. There were 2 songs specifically I heard by him when I first discovered him. I think they were This Side of the Looking Glass and Nothing Ever Ends. And I was kind of stuck in a musical rut, for lack of a better term, at the time.
We've all been there.
The band I was in just split, and I was trying to find my grounds on how to go forward as a solo artist, and I honestly don't think I could have discovered Dany Horovitz at a better time.
Yeah.
I said, like, hey, I like your song, I have this idea, let's make it happen. And sure enough, so here we are.
To interject quickly, because obviously with like one of the things that people find very interesting with me is that I host obviously this Life is Strange podcast, Player One versus Wars, very heavily Life is Strange focused. People always say to me, it's like, you should try and branch out to other things because obviously it might make your channel grow, etc. I get the other kind of spiel. People always find it very interesting that I speak to Adam. They've always kind of been interested in how I met Adam and how we host a Life is Strange podcast. Obviously, I'm based in the UK. You're based in Canada, Jonathan. And it's like, in the UK, I don't think I've ever met a Life is Strange fan, especially with where I've been around in the area. Maybe there's like meetups, but I've never really met anyone who's in my close proximity of a Life is Strange fan per se. But I kind of wanted to ask that about with Dany Horovitz. Was he a Life is Strange fan? Or, like, and also whether he was or not, was like pitching this kind of idea? Because again, it's a very niche kind of concept to infuse into a song of like a video game franchise as Life is Strange is. It's very niche for certain people. And obviously, as I said before, when I prepared for this as well, I listened to all your other music. It's very different from this one as well. This is like a very popular track on your YouTube channel. Got a lot of views, but then it's very different from the other stuff that you've done necessarily. So with Dany, like collaborating with him, was he Life is Strange fan? Was he not? And then also kind of like selling the idea of doing this and then having it heavily Life is Strange inspired as well.
Sadly, no. Dany played Life is Strange. I don't think he knows too much about. He's just like, hey, if you want to have it like another meaning to this song, like, you can, by all means, you can take it that direction. Dany, if you're watching this, play Life is Strange. Good game.
Honestly.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was just even say that, like, it's really well produced. It's a very, like, well mixed, well mastered piece of music. Did you take on the reins of mixing and mastering, or did Dany?
No, we both went to studio to get it done.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say, wow, that was like really good. Like, I was gonna be impressed either way, but I was like, wow, that it's a really well. I just wanted to like applaud you, like to your face. That's a really well produced, well written. It's a really really well rounded song altogether. So like, hats off to you and Dany. But you know, other than Dany not playing Life is Strange, he did good too. But you know, because Dany didn't play Life is Strange, I'm gonna knock him down a grade to a B minus. But you know, Dany, we can pull you up to an A plus, but you gotta play Life is Strange more. It is what it is.
This is what we usually have, Jonathan, because like, as Adam's done his own music, he's done his own albums, and like one of them, he had Kylie Brown on it, who's obviously Rachel Amber's voice actor. And he's like always kind of been like, oh no, my music's not that good and stuff. I'm like, dude, like Kylie did part of the music on your song, like, you know, on your album. So you cannot say it's good. Like, she wouldn't have agreed to do something like that if you had pitched it to her.
Pretty good achievement.
That's what I mean.
Yourself on the back for that.
Yeah.
Oh, when she read her lines for dialogue, like I got goosebumps, man. It was just because you just saw Rachel Amber coming out and just like listening to it, and I was like, I'm not worthy. This is just not. Nope. It's like it. She did really good. Yeah, but like songwriting and just actually production music, it's just a hard thing to do. So, you know, anybody that like pursues it, like doesn't matter even how or what path. It's a hard thing to do. So, you know, kudos to you for keeping on the journey. Other than your siblings who apparently drop it. But, you know, kudos to you, the younger sibling, the baby.
So let's jump into Make Use of Your Time a bit more, because
Yes.
where was the inspiring point to start that? Because, as I said, you've played Life is Strange, Dany Horovitz comes involved, but like, where's the starting point for you to write a song like that? And then kind of like formulating the lyrics, what were you kind of trying to do? Because as we found with Life is Strange, more than anything else, the series has been heavily inspired by music. Like, people love the tracks that are featured on it. They love the composers that have done work on Life is Strange. So you're kind of like tapping into a territory here, which is very much in Life is Strange's wheelhouse of like going into music and kind of creating something that will resonate with fans. But where was the starting point to kind of like write the song? Was it like, right, I'm going to try and now use my passion for Life is Strange into a song, started writing lyrics? Like, work me through that process, because I'm completely alien to that compared to Adam.
Oh boy, so we're gonna deep dive into this. All right.
Of course.
So where it started was the moment I finished my first playthrough of First Life is Strange. It bothered me. Like I mentioned earlier, I was really mad about how they had the only two endings for like maybe like almost 2 weeks after that. But it I took some time to really take a grasp for it, and I understand why they went in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
People, I often hear like, there should have been a third ending where both Arcadia Bay and Chloe should have been saved, and like would have been, you know, the perfect ending, right? But I think like that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
In life, like, we don't always get everything. To quote one of my favorite bands, Rolling Stones, you can't always get what you want.
What you wanted, yeah.
Try sometimes to get what you need. Well, you as the player get to decide, like, saving Chloe more important? Is saving Arcadia Bay more important? And I don't like the divide. I've seen some really people who are like, oh, if you save Chloe, it's a selfish ending. Well, the whole intention was to save Chloe. How could you sacrifice? Like, my playthrough, my choice.
Yeah.
I could do what I like, but it was my first playthrough. I sacrificed Arcadia Bay. And I did it with the benefit. I'm like, oh, well, maybe the town will be destroyed, but like people, they're already escaping. Like, I'm sure like some of them will make it out fine. And of course, they just guilt trip you.
Yeah.
When you see everything. But it was that moment I realized, like, well, in my playthrough, this is what my version of Max wanted. I had a lot of empathy towards Chloe, and life served her character like a lot of crappy situations, like the dropping out of high school, her father's tragic passing, the when Rachel Amber went missing, led to believe that Max would never come back, that person was just gone and out of her life. And that whole concept of like, this world sucks, it's never going to get better, was something I've struggled with a lot. I can't exactly put a timeline on it, but like we've put the emphasis that Life is Strange deals a lot with mental health. And at the time, I wasn't seeing my therapist, so I was kind of like on my own for a little bit. Once I started working, I got coverage, so I was able to reconnect with her again. But for a couple of months, I was alone. I had to find like my own ways of coping.
In 2020 that you weren't seeing a therapist. So, wow, so it's even worse. Like, not only are you on your own, but it's the summer of 2020 and you weren't. Yeah. Yikes.
So, in that ending, Obstacles by Sid Matters was definitely the big influence, because it just gave me like a comfort afterwards. Like, I kind of reevaluated the ending and really understood it. I think the whole concept, and I'm sure both of you know, and for those watching that don't know, Life is Strange was originally pitched to be called What If? A lot of people I find that struggle a lot with mental health issues, they kind of struggle with the what ifs in life.
Yeah.
And you can be stuck in the past or stuck on an occurrence, an event, an old lover, an old friend, whatever it may be. And it's hard. It's hard to move forward in life. You wish you could just rewind to do things over again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe my life would have been better had I did something different back then. And the game, I find, wants to give you that narrative that I can just make the best story possible and everything's going to be fine. But we know how the endings go. That's not how the game turns out. But it really made me realize, like, why do I have to put a timeline on my life? Why does anyone have to put a timeline on their life? You can become the person you want to be. It can take you as fast or as slow as possible, but all we have is right now. So I had to say, like, if you're in a room, look around the room. If there's something that's bothering you, I haven't dusted my fan in a little bit. Getting kind of sneezing a lot in here, getting some allergies. Go and dust your fan. Figure it out what it is that's bothering you or what's making you struggle in life. And as the title says, like, make use of your time. Do everything you got to do to become the person that you want to be.
Yeah. No, like that's an excellent message. I mean, like, that, you know, speaks a lot to me because I'm 32, and by the time I turned 30, I was just like, man, I gave up on music all through my 20s, and now I'm like 30. I'm like, crap, what did I do? I didn't really make use of the time of my 20s. So now I'm just kind of like picking up from there. But like you said, like life isn't a format. You can be what you want to be. It doesn't mean that, like, oh, life is over at 30. Life isn't over at, you know, in your 20s. You know, it's what it is. You just got to make use of it. You know, I like that messaging behind it. If I can get, like, really deep dive, something that, you know, again, if Adam's not familiar with musical production. So this song comes out, what year did it come out? 2022? Didn't it come out later in 2022?
Last November 2022.
November 2022. And you said that this kind of started, like, in 2020, like, this concept, this idea of a song?
Yeah, we started writing it, I think, about April 2022.
April 2022, and it comes out November 2022. And I just, like, want to give insight to people who might not be familiar how a song, because they'll listen to, like, a 3-minute song and think that, oh, yeah, it just took a day to write that, produce it, you know, work with other people. What was the production like? Like, did you have to meet in the studio, buy time? Did you ever struggle with writing chord progressions or even writing a lyric that really flows well? What was your take on all of that with the actual production of this song?
Well, since you gave Dany Horovitz, what was it, a B or a B minus?
I gave him B minus, yeah.
I think this will up his grading a tiny bit because he helped a lot with the writing process. We co-wrote the lyrics together entirely. A lot of the chord progressions were actually from him. You're a music guy. I started writing it just open guitar and thought I had something that was, you know, it's getting somewhere. Danny had the idea for those to, like, maybe you want to learn how to play the song. Go ahead, do a cover of it. We'll both be appreciative of that.
Nice.
He took, like, the progressions that I started with and put a capo on fret 3 and just made it sound a little different. I'm like, oh, that actually sounds more brighter and more, like, happier, uplifting than when I was just playing it openly. So he built off of my ideas, and it turned out to what it is today, and we're both really happy with it.
Dang.
So
now,
I'm going to jump in before Adam here. I have to ask you, Jonathan, how much are you your own harshest critic? Because behind the scenes, which people don't know, is because I speak to Adam a lot, and it's like, oh my God, my music's not good enough. And it's like, oh my God, I need to remaster this song. I wasn't happy with this first album. This is like, obviously, as I said before, like with the stuff that he's worked with Kylie before on albums, it's like, this is what I hear from the inner workings of the musician that is Adam. Where it's like, you know, there's always this kind of like, it's not even me that's criticizing. I can't say anything to him because I feel like I'd break his heart compared to how much he's criticizing himself. And then obviously, Adam's spoken about to me before about his own partner Liz, like saying like, you're judging your own work too harshly, etc., and kind of giving him as much emotional support. But I have to ask you, like, obviously you make this song, Make Use of Your Time, which, as I said, Adam was like pretty much raving about. He's like, this song's better than anything I've produced. But it's like, you know, how much were you your own harshest critic during this song? Were you like chucking? Because I can imagine you're sitting there writing the lyrics and then like scrunching up paper and then chucking it into a bin because it's like almost the cliche kind of idea. But like, how difficult was it recording the song, and then also like, how much pressure do you put on yourself as a musician making songs? Because as Adam said, it's not just the idea where people think, oh, they're going to the studio for a day, record a song, and then leave, and then it's like, that's the song done. But it's like, how much pressure do you put on yourself as a musician?
More than I honestly should.
Yeah.
I could say for the process of this song, I think because collaborating with Dany just created a different vibe, a different energy during the process. I wasn't actually too overly critical on this song. I think maybe more of the songs that I work on entirely on my own, I'm more critical of. But it's funny you mentioned this because I know like it's been like a reoccurring thing. And one of my next songs, maybe my next release actually, is going to be like about that topic, like being overly critical on yourself. Don't want to give too much away.
Too much information. Yeah, I stand by this statement. Like I live by it. It's like no one will hate me as much as I hate myself, and it's just like a little like joke, but it's like but it's also a realization. Because like that's the thing is like a lot of musicians, they are so overly critical, and I wouldn't even say it's about comparison in terms of like what you do. It's more of like, this is like your art. This is your baby. This is what you've been producing for months and months, and just trying to get it perfect so that other people will love it as much as you love it. So it's just more of like, man, I gotta make this perfect so that people can see it the way I see it. If that makes any kind of sense.
No, it definitely does. And on the topic of that, I think what's Make You See Your Time, like personally one of my biggest successes to this day, is the reception that it's gotten. Every musician will thrive off of that. You tell a musician, this song is great, this song inspired me, I listened to it on my drive to work or whatever the context may be. That's what they love to hear. That's what keeps them going. And amongst other things, I've just really wanted to get it across to people, not just because it's like, hey, I'm the artist, check out my music, but I want like this song to be one of those pieces that will create that change and inspire people like the first Life is Strange has done for me. So I've gone and like talked with a bunch of people. There's many Life is Strange communities out there. Most of the people I've talked to have been on Life is Strange Facebook groups. If you're not, too young to not use Facebook, I encourage you guys to check them out. There's 3 that I'm primarily in. One of them is I think it's just called The Life is Strange or Life is Strange Community.
Yeah,
as a banner
I'm in
of
that one.
Max, Chloe, and Alex in the background image, which is how I actually discovered Player One versus the World. So kudos to Lily, one of the admins on.
Oh, I know. Lily is very nice to me. Very, very, very always grateful for her nice words to me.
There's that one. There's another group called Pricefield, which is more for all the people who really love Max and Chloe. There's another community called We Love Life is Strange. Currently, it has Alex Chen as the background. Very nice guy named Francesco, who I met through the Life is Strange community, and I've sent like this song to people. I've had many a conversation with people personally about mental health and where they're at, on top of the song. And it's just really given me an amazing platform to just reach out to people, comfort them, help them like find their way. Like Life is Strange helped me find my way in a very difficult time in life. And that's my goal as a musician, as the person I am outside of music. And it's just been incredible. Like, no one thinks that a video game could provide you that much value. And it's just been amazing.
I would also recommend you check out Life is Strange Games on Facebook. They're a very big community. They have like some of the Don't Know team in there as well. And also Hannah Tell's part of that group as well. Who's Max herself, so I recommend go and check them out. But yeah, it's a very big community. As I said, like, it's given a lot to people, for myself as well, like having covered this game. This was one of the major games I started covering in 2015 when I worked in the video game industry, and I have carried it all the way through, and had a lot of developers having the chance to follow me and like kind of like commenting on our stuff as well. We have one of the Life is Strange producers, Luke Bagados, who comments on our videos and watches some of the content as well. Forever grateful to Luke as well. One day we'll have him on the channel. One day, yeah, I'm really glad that you had that, and I kind of want to pick something else up on you because obviously you spoke before about Max being someone who really resonates with you, Alex Chen, and then obviously with Make Use of Your Time, as I said, very much encourage people to go and check out Jonathan's YouTube video. I'll put the links in the description. I'll put them in the video description. But it's interesting artwork that you have as well, because a lot of it seems heavily inspired by Max and Chloe specifically, and also Farewell as well. Like a lot of the scenes kind of like mimic it, the artwork that you use, and also some of the scenes from Life is Strange 1. How much was that? And was it specifically Farewell? How much did that have an impact on you? Because I know people felt very differently about BTS, but everyone universally that I met was like, Farewell is like the most satisfying experience of Max and Chloe's story. Was that a big inspiration for this song?
Not so much. It was more just the first Life is Strange. I apologize, but for the visual aids, for certain lyrics that resonated with Chloe's story,
yeah,
I felt it was only fitting to show like what she went through during that 5-year gap when Max wasn't in Arcadia Bay. So my apologies. It was more just a visual aid. Don't hate me for that, anyone in the comments, but
oh yeah, we have the meanest commenters in ours. Like the worst community is StrangeCast community. Blech. No, just kidding. I love you all. You're all very nice. Please don't hate.
Yeah, we don't want to be dropping subscribers, Adam. Stop it. But on top of that, one more thing in the comments, you get comments like, "This is amazing. This would be perfect theme song for this game. Amazing work. I want to get up and dance. Both song and video absolutely wonderful. Ready for the mosh pit Shaka Brat." Like, what's it like when you get those kind of comments on this video?
Oh, those are the best. And it's great because like listening to the soundtrack of Life is Strange, I think like one of the songs that I wanted to get close to, because like you said earlier, like I've always done music, but now I've been trying to like mesh my passion for music with Life is Strange. So when trying to find like what's the energy I want to get through it, I actually ended up going through the Life is Strange soundtrack, and on top of like the meaning of like a deep meaning from Obstacles by Sid Matters, I make punk rock, so I figure like this needs to be like almost like a Chloe Price like track. So like Piano Fire was a big influence to that.
Nice.
But yeah, when people say ready for the mosh pit Shaka Bra, like I hope you're ready, because that's
nice.
what it's all about.
I respect that, and you've just mentioned it there because like I have to kind of pick your part on this, where it's You know, that, as I said, the music's incredible in this entire series, and then also on top of that, the composers that are in there. We have, like, me and Adam have really rigorous debates sometimes, but it seems like, yeah, you kind of say that Jonathan Morelli from Sid Meier's is like the best composer, but then you have Daughter doing the soundtrack for BTS, and then you have Julius and Angus Stone doing the soundtrack for True Colours. I have to kind of stand with you, like, who's your favourite composer out of the three of them that have worked on Life is Strange, and then also your favourite soundtrack from the series? We're talking about the one that's, like, really ripped in your heart, because, like, I felt that many times, especially with, like, when I remember playing Obstacles at the first episode of Life is Strange 1, I was like, this game is just damn. I was like, this game is cooking really big.
The ones that, like, stand out the most to me, like, I mentioned them before, Obstacles, Piano Fire, going to True Colors, Don't Matter by Kings of Leon. Again, kind of similar to me being late to the party to Life is Strange. Kings of Leon's always a band that, like, I heard word of the mouth, but never actually took the time to properly listen to them.
Yeah.
After Alex chat, I'm like, all right, Mechanical Bull, I'm going to put it on my list to check out the full album of Mechanical Bull, and been listening to a lot of Kings of Leon since, so that definitely stands out. Amongst other things, like, oh my, like, very sad, but Mountains by Message to Bears is also amazing.
Yes.
Big shout out to the voice acting from Ashley Birch and Hannah Tell in that scene. Like, for animated character, you could feel the emotion that they recorded in studio. Like, the voice acting is phenomenal.
Oh God, yeah. Like I said, when I worked with Kylie, and the other voice actor was on my album was just a friend of mine from college, and he voice acts, but just between his voice, and I told him this, so he knows. I told him, like, listening to the tracks between him and then Kylie, it was just like night and day, just like the amount of emotion they can put out. So anybody that, like, goes into these Life is Strange games to perform, to voice act, they're putting out such, like, all of their heart and all of their soul into this one line, that when I was listening to Marcus's lines and then Kylie's, I was like, God dang. It's like, this is just, it's like an NBA player going into a rec league. Like, this is insane. But no, I feel you on that. They put their heart and soul into those scenes. Yeah.
Jonathan, so one of the things I admire with you is you put yourself out there, as a musician should do as well. Like, you know, I've always wanted to have people on this channel with, like, people who work in the community. I've had, like, speedrunner on here before to kind of talk about working Life is Strange speedrunning. And my interviews have, like, always been more around the actors and stuff, and I've kind of tried to diversify it, but never have the opportunity to kind of do it per se. And then obviously you reached out to me about the story. I found it very touching. I was like, you know, we kind of have to get it done. Then obviously, as I said, I watched your interview with CQ as well. And then what I kind of wanted to know was, like, you make this song, which, as I said, is very popular, which has done very well. I dig it. Adam digs it. And then you're kind of talking to, obviously, now you're on the Life is Strange podcast, so it's, like, almost universally common note for everyone to know what it's going to be about, what it's kind of like the beats it's hitting. But then you have someone like Dany Horovitz who doesn't know Life is Strange, but then you also have the CKCU interview that you did, where it's necessarily they might not know what Life is Strange is. So I kind of wanted to know there, it's like, how do you pitch a song like this? Everyone can listen to a song, but there's a deeper meaning that the inspiration behind Life is Strange. How do you pitch a song to people who've never played this series, and then kind of push them in the direction of, like, what Life is Strange is? Like, do you kind of pitch them what Life is Strange is, and then how it's inspired the song? Have you had anyone you've kind of, like, had listened to it then has gone and played Life is Strange? Because, as I said, it's, like, been one of those things for you where someone told you to play Life is Strange and you kind of came to late to the party, you played it. Has this song been pitched to someone that you know, and then they've started playing Life is Strange because of it?
No, unfortunately. And
breaking my heart, man. Breaking my heart again, man. It's like,
it's hard because it's like, I'll pitch it to the Life is Strange people.
Right.
But for, like, someone like Dany,
I totally understand this. Yeah.
Big part in doing it, will just pitch it for the sake of, here's a new song I did with Jonathan Panetta, and just for the sake of those that like music, because it's specifically on YouTube, right? I feel like if you're on Apple or Spotify, which believe me, I encourage people to check it out on all platforms, but the lyric video is specifically on YouTube. So I feel like if you never saw the lyric video, one might assume it's related to Life is Strange. It's kind of been that thing that I've been like pitching it to people in the Life is Strange community, which I don't want to ramble on too much, but it's a very like difficult topic because I feel Life is Strange as a whole is very appealing, like the niche audience that is. It's appealing to people that have had a rough path, a rough go in life for many different reasons: mental health, bullying, racism, outcasted for being bi or being gay or being trans, part of the LGBTQ community. Like, I feel like if you're someone just in general, and again, this don't apply to everyone, this is just what I'm thinking out loud, but I feel like if you're a very popular, extroverted person where like the world's just great, everyone likes me, nothing's ever gone bad in my life. Like, if you haven't kind of been to those places in life, Life is Strange will just kind of seem like a generic teen drama to someone, which you're wrong.
Yeah, honestly.
I mean, you're wrong. It's so much more than that. But yeah, like, that's what it's been difficult. Like, I feel like Life is Strange is it a perfect game? No, it's very hard to find a game that is perfect, but the meaning of Life is Strange is timeless, and I feel it can just go over so many people's heads and just like, oh, I don't know why you like this video game so much. Yeah. So yeah, it's hard. It's, you know, hard to, you know, just find a random stranger, hey, check out my music, let alone, hey, play this video game.
Yeah. Like, I get what you mean. It has to have a rooted theme, but also universal enough for you to like spread any kind of music around. It doesn't have to be just for Life is Strange people, because, you know, I face it sometimes when I'm trying to pitch a song to Spotify to put on a playlist. It's just like, I look at it. I look at my own piece of music. I'm just like, well, who is it for? What playlist would they even go on? You know, like, if you want to spread your music around, that it almost has to be somewhat universal, but also have some kind of roots to like actually have an audience, but enough audience that it can just spread around. So it's a weird, difficult tie that you have to put on yourself where you're like, well, who is this for? So I completely understand where you're coming from, where you're like, yeah, it is rooted in Life is Strange, but it's also for everybody. So it's just kind of like, I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, I respect that as well, that response. And we're kind of coming down to like the end of this, and I kind of wanted to ask you two more things. One of them is there any more Life is Strange music in the works, or fan-inspired?
Something that's, you know, on the mind. I figured, like, Make Use of Your Time was like a general meaning to me of Life is Strange as a whole. Some people have, like, in the Facebook groups I've been a part of, pitched me the idea of, like, maybe trying to do stuff specifically about a character or like a specific part of Life is Strange, because I feel Make Use of Your Time covers probably BTS, Farewell, and Life is Strange 1 all together. So like, I got a big chunk of that entirely. There's still Life is Strange 2, True Colors.
Obviously, Life is Strange 2 has to be the next choice, isn't it?
Maybe I'll do a track about that. But I do have a planned EP, hoping to drop it later this year. It's going to be like kind of my vision right now. I'm going to try to split it up, because I have tracks that are more deep meaning, uplifting and punk rock based, but I have heavier stuff as well. So what I will say is, if you like Make Use of Your Time and you like general punk rock and pop punk, basically anything that I think Chloe Price would listen to, it'll be part of the EP that's in with more punk and pop pop punk tracks that are similar too. Mm-hmm. So if you like it, definitely stay tuned for more of that. But in terms of Life is Strange, it's always a thought, always something I'm considering.
It's
Very
always
nice.
a thought, and it should always be a thought. And before I hand over to Adam for any other last questions, I'm going to have my last question here. So you've kind of like gravitated between all these different characters, Max, Chloe, Alex, but definitively everyone has their favourite character for a certain reason. Who is the definitive character for you for Life is Strange, your favourite, and why? What was it about that character that resonated about you? Because I always say my favourite is Rachel Amber, for example, and to my own detriment for some people, but like, what was it about the character? Who is your favourite character and why? What was it that made them stand out for you?
It's a toss-up for me between Max and Chloe, and I'll explain for different reasons. Max, I see a lot of myself in, and you can tell the Max from the beginning of the game and the Max... it's a little different on depending which ending you get, but I'd say regardless, Max went through a lot of character growth throughout the game. And I see a lot of similar growth in myself with Max. However, I still gotta say Chloe's my favorite because for reasons outside of Life is Strange, like I feel like Chloe, if we're a real person, which again, the script, I feel these are characters that like they seem real, they seem very relatable to. I feel like if Chloe were someone in my social circle, I would get along with them greatly. We like a lot of the same music. And if I could have a whole fan base of just a bunch of people like Chloe Price, I'd be set.
Honestly, yeah.
I respect that answer. Adam,
yes.
Any final questions for you?
I do. I have one final question. In your Spotify bio, you said that one of your inspirations is the Beatles, which is one of my favorite bands of all time. And in no particular order, we're not talking like, oh, yeah, we're going to rank top 3 songs in no particular order from the Beatles.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you said no particular order, so I
no
feel
particular
less pressure
order
for that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would definitely say Let It Be is a big part of it.
Nice. Yeah.
Also kind of related back to Make Use of Your Time, but there's things that we can't control sometimes. Life just has to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So Let It Be is definitely big part of that. Revolution was always one of my favorites because I also find the Beatles timeline, like the whole decade of the 60s, that was one of their first more heavier tracks. A lot of people say like the Beatles were kind of the roots of what started heavy metal, even though they weren't considered a heavy metal band.
Yeah.
So definitely Revolution as well. Oh man, it's not a Beatles song, it's a John Lennon song.
I'll still count it.
I gotta say Imagine though. Definitely Imagine.
Yeah.
That was one of those songs that has always stuck by me. And ultimately, Imagine is kind of like my goal as a musician as well. I've listened to Imagine like through a lot of difficult times in my life, and I want like songs like Make Use of Your Time, just to pitch some other quick names in there. I have a song called World Without Me that's about depression and suicide.
And that was on your album, right?
Yeah, my last album,
Yes.
Stop and Think Now, yeah.
Yeah, that was a solid album, by the way. I gave it a listen. It was really good.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Heck yeah.
And that's ultimately my goal, like, as a musician. I want it to be inspiring. I want it to be there for people in their happy moments and their difficult moments. And that above anything else, like, I'd say as a musician is the most rewarding, more than money, more than fame, more than anything else that music could offer you. It's the best feeling in the world when I know it's helping people. And I want to leave this world knowing I bettered it in some way. And like hearing those stories, hearing those comments, best feeling ever, honestly.
Heck yeah. Well, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's a very fitting note to end this on, and we're coming up to almost the hour mark. So I hope you all enjoyed this part of the episode. As I said, this is our episode 38B supplement. You can check 38A out as well for all your StrangeCast needs. But we'll wrap this up here. If you are new here, as I always said before, please do drop us a subscribe, like, turn on notifications, and share with your friends. Helps keep up to date with our content, and obviously StrangeCast is available on all podcast services. Jonathan, thank you again so much for having you on here. It's really great to have you on here to spotlight your story and also your Life is Strange music. I will put all links in the description, and I'll put them in the comment pinned to this video, so you can go and check out Jonathan's music. I would highly encourage you to do that. Jonathan, obviously we'll hopefully hear more Life is Strange music from you in the future. I have no doubt about that. And until then, guys, stay tuned. There'll be more StrangeCast in the future. Take care.
Later.